That second etude is etude number 83. Beauty, expressiveness, and a constant sense of musical direction are the objectives of this etude. Though there is a metronome marking, this should simply be considered a metronomic home base rather than a metronomic constant. In addition, espressivo should always be considered a musical license to play with musical flexibility of tempo, dynamics, style, and phrasing. Concerning dynamic expression, there is a very simple but effective approach that can be especially helpful for this etude. When the musical line ascends, crescendo and play with forward motion. And when the musical line descends, taper and relax the forward motion. This approach is especially helpful when the writing is somewhat rhythmically repetitive, as is the case with this etude. You will notice in both the dynamic and tempo markings of this etude that the composer intends for the music to be played with the aforementioned approach. See measures 1 through 9. Whichever musical approach you choose, make sure that at no point the music is static. Each measure of music should contrast in some way with the preceding measure. Because the style of this etude is almost always legato, phrasing and moments of stylistic contrast are of particular importance. Every measure of music has note groupings that are marked to be slurred together. But remember, a slur marking is also a phrase marking. This means that when a group of notes are marked to be slurred, they should also be treated as a musical grouping. For instance, in measure 1, the first 4 notes are marked with a slur. This means that these 4 notes should be played in a connected manner, but that they should also be spaced a little or have a lift after the 4th note. In other words, they should be connected and phrased together. Slurs are ever present in this etude, but treating the slurs as instructions for how to phrase the music can give the music more interest and make it sound more natural in singing. The other articulation marking in this etude is the tenuto marking. Sometimes it is used by itself, and other times it is used with a slur marking. But in either case, the instruction is the same. The marked note should be played with length and weight. An important clarification to make here is that when the tenuto marking is used by itself, the marked notes should be played with length and weight, but they should not be connected. Otherwise, they would be marked as slurred or legato. In keeping with the espressivo marking at the beginning, great attention should be given to dynamic contrast. Err on the side of playing with a wider dynamic range and more contrast than may seem necessary. Last but certainly not least, it must be mentioned that it is crucial when learning this etude to make sure to really read each and every note and to carry accidentals through to the end of each measure. This etude is not only marked in a key signature that won't be comfortable for all young players, but it also frequently changes key centers. For this reason, it is important to never assume that you're reading each note correctly. Reading through this etude very slowly a few times can go a long way towards preventing the dreaded mislearning of pitches.